You must understand this one truth: you are the source of infinite worth. When someone chooses to walk away or dismisses your presence, they are not rejecting you, they are rejecting the gift you brought into their life. This gift, unique and irreplaceable, will not appear in the same form again. Your worth is not determined by the opinions, judgments, or validations of others. It is not shaped by the fleeting approval of those who fail to see your essence, nor is it tied to the temporary roles you play in their lives. Instead, your worth originates from within, a boundless reservoir of potential and uniqueness that only you can access. You are the creator of your worth, and its foundation lies in the way you perceive yourself. In every interaction, every relationship, and every decision you make, there exists a mirror reflecting how you view yourself. The world can only echo what you project outwardly. If you see yourself as small, undeserving, or incomplete, others will unconsciously mirror that belief back to you. But when you stand tall in the awareness of your inherent value, the world will shift in response. It is not arrogance to recognize your worth, it is an act of self-honor, a declaration to yourself and the universe that you are enough, just as you are. Too often, people surrender the authorship of their worth to external forces. They allow the praise or criticism of others to dictate how they feel about themselves. Yet, consider this: if the opinions of others can elevate you, they can also bring you crashing down. True power lies in detaching from such external influences and reclaiming your sense of self. No one knows the depth of your journey, the challenges you have overcome, or the light you bring to the world. Only you can truly grasp the magnitude of your worth, and only you can choose to embrace it fully. The act of creating your worth begins with your thoughts. The stories you tell yourself daily become the foundation upon which your value is built. If you repeat narratives of unworthiness, you reinforce a reality where you feel inadequate. But when you consciously affirm your worth, even in the face of doubt, you lay the groundwork for a life where you stand confidently in your power. Thoughts are seeds, and like any garden, the ones you nurture will flourish. Choose carefully what you plant in the soil of your mind. Your worth is also revealed in the boundaries you set. When you allow others to treat you in ways that diminish your value, you inadvertently signal that their behavior is acceptable. Boundaries are not acts of selfishness, they are declarations of self-respect. By honoring your limits, you teach others how to honor you. You show the world that you will not settle for less than what aligns with your sense of worth. It is crucial to understand that your worth is not tied to your achievements, possessions, or external markers of success. These things may enhance your experience, but they do not define you. Your worth exists simply because you exist. It is intrinsic and unchanging, regardless of circumstances. The more you internalize this truth, the less you will feel the need to prove yourself to others. When you create your worth from within, you become unshakable. Relationships no longer define your happiness, and setbacks no longer erode your confidence. You learn to walk away from people and situations that do not honor your value, not out of anger but from a place of self-respect. You no longer cling to what drains you, because you trust that your worth will attract what is meant for you. This realization transforms the way you move through the world. You begin to carry yourself differently, with a quiet assurance that does not need validation. Others will sense this energy, and they will either rise to meet you or fall away. Let them. The departure of those who cannot see your worth is not a loss but a clearing. It makes space for those who will honor and cherish you as you deserve. In creating your worth, you also inspire others to do the same. Your example becomes a beacon for those who have forgotten their own value. You show them what is possible when you embrace your uniqueness and stand firm in your truth. This ripple effect is one of the greatest gifts you can offer the world. Remember, you are not the reflection of what others think of you. You are the creator of your worth, a masterpiece in progress, constantly evolving and growing. Every step you take in embracing this truth strengthens the foundation of your self-esteem. No one can take that from you. So rise each day with the awareness that your worth is not something to be earned, it is something to be recognized and claimed. In doing so, you transform your life and the lives of those around you. You are the creator of your worth, and that is a power no one can ever diminish. The way you perceive yourself is the lens through which you view and interpret the world, and that perception shapes your reality in profound ways. Your thoughts about yourself act as a foundation upon which your experiences are built, influencing the choices you make, the opportunities you attract, and the relationships you nurture. When you truly understand this, you realize that the power to transform your life lies not in changing external circumstances, but in changing how you see yourself. Self-perception is not merely about how you feel in passing moments. It is a deeply ingrained belief system that dictates your actions and interactions. If you see yourself as limited, unworthy, or incapable, you unconsciously project those beliefs outward. These projections influence your behavior, causing you to shy away from opportunities, settle for less than you deserve, or allow others to treat you in ways that diminish your value. Conversely, when you perceive yourself as capable, deserving, and empowered, you radiate confidence and attract experiences that align with that belief. The connection between self-perception and reality is a powerful example of the mind's influence over life. Consider the placebo effect in medicine, where a patient's belief in a treatment's effectiveness can lead to genuine healing, even if the treatment itself has no active ingredients. Similarly, the belief you hold about yourself acts as a placebo for your life. When you believe you are capable, resilient, and deserving of success, you create an inner environment that fosters those outcomes. The influence of self-perception extends to the way you handle challenges and setbacks. If you see yourself as a victim of circumstances, difficulties will feel insurmountable, and you may succumb to feelings of helplessness. However, if you perceive yourself as resourceful and strong, even the most challenging situations become opportunities for growth. This shift in mindset can transform obstacles into stepping stones, allowing you to move forward with purpose and determination. Relationships are another area where self-perception plays a defining role. How you see yourself determines the types of relationships you attract and sustain. If you perceive yourself as unworthy of love or respect, you may tolerate unhealthy dynamics or settle for less than you deserve. On the other hand, a healthy self-perception enables you to set boundaries, communicate your needs, and attract people who honor and value you. The energy you bring to relationships is a direct reflection of how you feel about yourself, and others will often treat you accordingly. Opportunities in life are also deeply influenced by self-perception. When you see yourself as capable and deserving, you are more likely to pursue opportunities that align with your goals and passions. Confidence opens doors, not because the world is inherently fair, but because people respond to the energy of certainty and self-belief. On the contrary, if you doubt your abilities or worth, you may hesitate to take risks or accept opportunities, effectively closing doors before they even open. Once you become aware of limiting beliefs, you can begin to replace them with affirmations of your worth and potential. This process requires repetition and consistency, as new beliefs must be reinforced to take root. Surround yourself with environments, people, and experiences that uplift and support the perception of yourself that you wish to cultivate. The energy you allow into your life has a profound impact on how you see yourself and, in turn, on the reality you create. You are the architect of your reality, and self-perception is the blueprint. The beliefs you hold about yourself determine the quality of the life you build. When you choose to see yourself as capable, deserving, and empowered, you unlock a version of reality that reflects those truths. It is not the world that must change to fit your desires, it is your self-perception that must expand to embrace them. Detachment is one of the most profound and liberating powers you can cultivate in life. It is not about withdrawing from the world or abandoning your desires, rather. It is about releasing the need to control outcomes, people, and circumstances. Detachment is freedom, the ability to exist in the world without being enslaved by its fleeting nature. When you master the art of detachment, you unlock a state of inner peace and unshakable strength that allows you to navigate life with clarity and grace. At its core, detachment is a shift in perspective. It is the realization that nothing external to you has the power to define your worth, happiness, or fulfillment. When you cling to outcomes or base your sense of self on external validation, You tether yourself to a cycle of anxiety and disappointment. Life is unpredictable, and people are not always consistent. By placing your happiness in things outside of yourself, you surrender your power to forces beyond your control. Detachment, however, allows you to reclaim that power. To practice detachment does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop over-identifying with the results of your efforts or the actions of others. You can still have goals, desires, and relationships, but detachment teaches you to engage with them from a place of balance. You do your best, invest your energy where it matters, and then release any obsessive attachment to how things unfold. This does not diminish your passion or commitment, it amplifies them, because your actions are no longer driven by fear or desperation. Also liberates you from the burden of pleasing others. When you are overly attached to how people perceive you, you shape your actions and decisions to meet their expectations. This creates a life of compromise, where you trade authenticity for acceptance. But when you detach from the need for external approval, you gain the freedom to live authentically. You become unapologetically yourself, allowing your true essence to shine without concern for how others may interpret it. So, in relationships, detachment is particularly transformative. It frees you from the pain of unmet expectations and the illusion of control. No matter how deeply you care for someone, you cannot dictate their feelings, choices, or actions. When you release the need to control others, you allow them the space to be themselves. This creates healthier, more balanced connections built on mutual respect rather than dependency. Detachment also empowers you to walk away when a relationship no longer serves your well-being, knowing that your worth is not tied to another person's presence in your life. One of the most challenging but essential aspects of detachment is letting go of past hurts and grievances. Many people carry the weight of old wounds, allowing them to dictate their present. But clinging to pain only prolongs suffering. Detachment invites you to release the emotional charge attached to these memories, not by denying them, but by acknowledging them and choosing to move forward. In letting go, you free yourself from the grip of the past and create space for new experiences. Detachment is not about indifference or avoidance, it is about empowerment. It is the ability to engage with life fully while remaining unshaken by its ups and downs. It is the quiet confidence that comes from knowing that your worth, happiness, and peace are not dependent on anything external. Detachment does not mean you abandon your desires, it means you trust that life will unfold as it should, and that you have the strength to thrive regardless of the outcome. When you master detachment, you discover a profound sense of freedom. You are no longer swayed by the chaos of the world or imprisoned by the fear of loss. Instead, you stand firmly rooted in the knowledge that you are enough, that you are whole, and that no external circumstance can diminish the power within you. This is the essence of detachment, and it is the key to a life of true peace and fulfillment. The law of reflection reveals a profound truth about life. The outer world is a mirror of your inner state. Everything you experience, every interaction, and every challenge is a reflection of your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions. This universal principle operates continuously, whether you are conscious of it or not. By understanding and embracing this law, you gain the ability to transform your reality, for the change always begins within. Life does not happen to you, it happens through you. The people and circumstances you encounter are not random but vibrational matches to the energy you carry within. If you are filled with doubt, insecurity, or fear, the world reflects those feelings back to you through challenging situations or difficult relationships. Conversely, when you cultivate confidence, love, and gratitude within yourself, your external reality aligns with those higher vibrations, bringing opportunities, harmonious relationships, and abundance. The law of reflection is not about blame or guilt, but about awareness and responsibility. It invites you to look within and recognize that you are the creator of your experiences. If you find yourself in recurring patterns of struggle or conflict, it is an indication that something within you needs attention. Life is not punishing you, it is showing you what needs healing or adjustment. By facing these reflections with honesty and courage, you can uncover the root causes of your challenges and begin the process of transformation. Consider relationships as one of the most powerful arenas where the law of reflection plays out. The way others treat you often mirrors how you treat yourself. If you notice people disrespecting you or taking you for granted, ask yourself whether you have been setting boundaries or valuing your own worth. Similarly, if you find yourself attracting nurturing and supportive people, it is likely a reflection of the love and respect you hold for yourself. Relationships act as mirrors, offering insight into your self-perception and emotional state. This principle also extends to your goals and desires. If you are struggling to manifest something in your life, the delay often reflects inner resistance or limiting beliefs. For example, if you desire financial abundance but carry subconscious beliefs that money is scarce or that you are undeserving, those beliefs will manifest as obstacles. The outer reality reflects your inner doubts until you address and replace them with empowering beliefs. The key is not to force change in the outer world, but to align your inner world with what you desire. Challenges and adversities are reflections as well, though they may not be immediately recognizable as such. When life presents difficulties, it is often showing you areas where growth is needed. A challenging situation might be a reflection of unresolved fears, a lack of clarity, or an opportunity to strengthen your resilience. These moments, though uncomfortable, are not punishments, they are invitations to evolve. By approaching them with curiosity instead of resistance, you can uncover the lessons they hold. Taking responsibility for your reflections does not mean you must shoulder the blame for every difficulty. Instead, it means recognizing your power to influence your reality. The outer world is a feedback system, not a fixed destiny. If you do not like what you see, you have the ability to change it, not by controlling others or forcing outcomes, but by shifting your inner state. As you heal, grow, and elevate your energy, the world around you begins to transform in response. One of the most empowering aspects of the law of reflection is that it puts the focus back on what you can control yourself. You do not need to wait for others to change, for circumstances to improve, or for opportunities to appear. When you align with the energy of what you desire, life reflects that alignment back to you. This is why inner work is so essential. It is not merely a means of coping with life's challenges, it is the foundation for creating the life you truly want. The law of reflection is both humbling and empowering. It reminds you that you are not separate from the world you experience, you are intricately connected to it. Your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs ripple outward, shaping the mirror of your reality. By embracing this truth, you can stop seeing life as something that happens to you and start seeing it as a reflection of your inner being. Change the reflection by changing yourself, and you will discover the profound power you hold to create a life of purpose, joy, and fulfillment. In the rush of daily life, we are constantly bombarded with noise, opinions, expectations, demands, and judgments. We tend to fill every moment with conversation, trying to express ourselves or seek validation. But in doing so, we often miss the opportunity for deeper connection and understanding. Silence, in contrast, offers a reprieve from this noise. It creates space for reflection, self-awareness, and authentic connection. When you allow moments of silence to fill your life, you open the door to a more profound way of being. Silence speaks loudly because it allows us to listen not just to others, but to ourselves. In a conversation, we often listen with the intent to respond rather than to understand. We think about what we will say next, and in doing so, we fail to truly hear what the other person is saying. Silence, however, encourages us to listen deeply. When you give yourself the gift of silence, you can hear the subtle messages that your mind and body are sending you. It is in these quiet moments that clarity arises. You begin to hear your own thoughts and desires more clearly, free from the noise of external distractions. Silence fosters introspection, allowing you to better understand your true feelings, motivations, and needs. Silence also enhances our ability to truly listen to others. When we are quiet and present, we create an environment in which others feel heard and understood. In the absence of interruptions or judgments, people are more likely to open up and share their authentic selves. Silence can therefore be a powerful tool in fostering connection and trust. It demonstrates that we value the person in front of us and are willing to give them the space to express themselves fully. Another way silence speaks louder than words is in the realm of non-verbal communication. Much of what we communicate is not expressed through spoken language, but through our body language, facial expressions, and energy. In fact, studies suggest that a large portion of communication is non-verbal. A look, a gesture, or the way someone holds themselves can speak volumes without a single word being said. Silence, in this sense, amplifies these non-verbal cues, allowing us to communicate on a deeper level. Sometimes a simple silence shared between two people can convey more emotion and understanding than any words could. Silence can communicate empathy, love, respect, and understanding in ways that words often fail to do. Silence also provides a powerful means of self-expression. Sometimes the most profound things are those that cannot be articulated. When we are faced with intense emotions or experiences that feel too overwhelming to put into words, silence can serve as a form of release. In moments of grief, joy, or awe, words may seem inadequate to fully express the depth of our feelings. In these instances, silence speaks louder because it allows us to process and feel without the pressure to explain. It allows us to be in the moment, to experience and express through our presence without the need for verbal validation. Furthermore, silence allows for reflection, a key component of personal growth and transformation. When we are constantly speaking or surrounded by noise, we have little opportunity to pause and assess where we are in life. Silence offers the space to evaluate our actions, choices, and direction. It gives us the opportunity to step back and consider our path, to assess whether we are living in alignment with our values and desires. This reflective quality of silence can lead to significant insights and breakthroughs that words alone cannot bring. Silence is also a form of strength. In moments of conflict or tension, choosing silence rather than reacting impulsively demonstrates a deep inner control. Instead of rushing to defend yourself or prove a point, silence allows you to remain grounded and centered. In this way, silence can be a response in itself, one that carries wisdom, self-assurance, and emotional maturity. By holding your peace, you assert your boundaries and communicate that you are not governed by external forces or the need to engage in unnecessary drama. Silence is often more effective than words. Words can be misinterpreted or manipulated, but silence holds a purity that cannot be distorted. In a partnership, there are times when words are insufficient, when saying anything would only disrupt the delicate balance. In these moments, silence allows for healing, understanding, and connection to take place. A shared silence can create a sense of intimacy that words may struggle to achieve. It signifies that both individuals are in tune with each other, and that they do not need words to feel understood or loved. Silence speaks louder than words because it communicates depth, presence, and authenticity. It allows for reflection, connection, and understanding in ways that words often cannot. By embracing silence, you create space for true listening, self-awareness, and emotional expression. It is a powerful tool that can transform your relationships, your inner world, and your ability to communicate with yourself and others. In the quiet moments of life, you find the wisdom, strength, and clarity to move forward with grace and purpose. Regret is often seen as a painful reminder of missed opportunities or actions that didn't align with our values. However, regret is not merely an emotion to be avoided. It is a powerful catalyst for growth, transformation, and increased awareness. It is the result of reflecting on past decisions and recognizing the lessons they offer. Regret, when approached with a mindset of growth, can lead to profound self-awareness. As you grow more aware of your past actions, behaviors, and choices, regret becomes less about dwelling in sorrow and more about evolving into a wiser, more mindful person. It grows in awareness because it arises from the realization of the gap between our past actions and the ideal version of ourselves we wish to embody. In every moment, we are given choices, and the outcomes of those choices often serve as mirrors of our inner state. When we choose actions that do not align with our higher self, regret can appear as a feeling of dissonance and misalignment between who we were in that moment and who we wish to become. This recognition creates the fertile ground for growth because it offers us an opportunity to reflect, learn, and make different choices in the future. Awareness is the key to turning regret into something transformative. Without awareness, regret is simply a fleeting emotion that passes without leaving a lasting impact. However, when we become aware of the deeper reasons behind our regret, we are given the chance to uncover the beliefs, fears, or patterns that influenced our decisions. Regret, in this sense, is not an isolated feeling, it is part of a larger process of self-discovery. The more aware we become of the underlying causes of our regret, the more we can address these issues and change the trajectory of our lives moving forward. Often we find ourselves regretting decisions that were made out of fear or a lack of self-belief. When we choose from a place of insecurity or doubt, the results often do not align with our true desires. This is where awareness becomes crucial, recognizing that many of our past regrets stem from a lack of trust in our abilities or the fear of facing challenges. Once we become aware of these underlying patterns, we can choose to act with more courage and conviction. We can stop allowing fear to dictate our choices and begin making decisions that reflect our true values and desires. As awareness grows, we begin to see that regret is not an inherently negative emotion, but a signpost pointing us toward deeper understanding. In relationships, for instance, regret may arise from things left unsaid, actions left undone, or love not fully expressed. As we reflect on these moments, we gain insight into our communication styles, emotional needs, and the dynamics that shape our connections with others. Awareness of how we show up in relationships can help us heal and improve the way we interact with those we love, making us more empathetic, open, and vulnerable. Often reveals the gaps between our current state and our desired future. It pushes us to acknowledge the areas of our life where we feel unfulfilled or disconnected from our true purpose. This awareness opens the door to change, prompting us to reassess our goals, values, and priorities. When we see clearly the difference between where we are and where we want to be, regret becomes a motivator for change. It pushes us to align our actions with our deepest desires, ensuring that the path forward is in harmony with who we truly are. Awareness allows us to recognize that the future is not predetermined by our past. Just because we regret certain actions or decisions does not mean that we are doomed to repeat them. The growth in awareness enables us to see patterns in our behavior and take conscious steps to break free from them. We can choose new paths, redefine our values, and take bold action to create the future we want. Regret, when acknowledged and understood, becomes the soil in which new intentions are planted, leading to greater fulfillment and peace. Regret grows in awareness because it is a product of reflecting on our past choices with a deeper understanding. It serves as a mirror of our inner beliefs, fears, and desires, helping us become more in tune with our authentic self. When approached with awareness, regret is not something to avoid, but something to embrace, as it holds the key to greater self-awareness and personal growth. Through this awareness, we can learn from our past, make wiser choices, and move forward with greater clarity, compassion, and purpose. The journey of embracing regret as a tool for growth is an essential part of our evolution, leading us toward a more fulfilled and conscious life. You are irreplaceable. This simple truth holds a deep and powerful meaning that resonates with every aspect of your life. In a world where we often find ourselves comparing to others, or feeling as though we need to prove our worth, it's easy to forget that there is no one else like you. Your experiences, thoughts, emotions, and presence in this world are unique. No one else can fill the exact role you play in the lives of those around you or in the grand design of the universe. The idea that you are irreplaceable comes from recognizing the incredible individuality that exists within you. The combination of your personality, your history, your values, and your vision for the future is something that no one can replicate. Even in the moments when you feel small, overlooked, or unnoticed, you are still an essential and irreplaceable part of the world. Your specific energy, your perspective, and your way of thinking are valuable beyond measure. Each person carries within them a distinct set of experiences, challenges, and triumphs. These life experiences shape the way you perceive the world and how you interact with others. No one else has walked your path, faced your struggles, or celebrated your victories in the same way. It is through these personal experiences that you gain wisdom, resilience, and empathy, which are qualities that cannot be duplicated by anyone else. The way you respond to life, how you carry yourself through hardship, and the love you give to others are aspects that make you irreplaceable. In the relationships you cultivate, whether with family, friends, or romantic partners, your uniqueness is woven into every connection. The way you show up for others, the comfort and support you offer, and the special moments you create are irreplaceable. Every conversation, every shared laugh, every moment of vulnerability adds something valuable to the fabric of those relationships. Without you, these connections would not exist in the same way. People can have many friends, colleagues, or loved ones, but no one else can be you for them. You are the only person who can offer the specific love, attention, and presence that you bring to their lives. This irreplaceability is not just about what you give to others, but about how you impact the world around you. Every action you take, whether big or small, ripples out and creates an effect. It's easy to dismiss our daily actions as insignificant, but in reality they are powerful. Whether you're smiling at a stranger, offering a kind word, or simply being present in the moment, you contribute to the world in ways you may never fully understand. Your presence brings a certain energy into every room, every conversation, and every situation. This energy is yours alone, and it cannot be replicated. At the core of being irreplaceable is the recognition that your worth does not lie in the approval or validation of others. In a society that often measures worth by external success, achievements, or popularity, it's easy to forget that true value comes from within. You are irreplaceable because of who you are, not because of what you do or how others perceive you. The most important relationship you will ever have is the one you cultivate with yourself. When you begin to understand and honor your own worth, you realize that you do not need to seek validation or comparisons to others. Your existence is a gift, and that alone makes you irreplaceable. In moments of doubt or insecurity, it's important to return to this truth, that you are irreplaceable, not because of what you can do for others or how others view you, but because of the inherent value you hold simply by being yourself. The uniqueness you bring to the world is beyond measure, and no one can ever replace the essence of who you are. Even in times when you feel unseen, you are still contributing to the world in ways you may not even realize. Sometimes the struggle to see your own irreplaceability comes from comparing yourself to others. You may find yourself feeling inadequate or inferior when you see someone else's accomplishments or qualities that you admire. But comparison is an illusion. The reality is that you, with all of your strengths, weaknesses, dreams, and fears, are one of a kind. No one can offer the same combination of qualities and experiences that you can. When you embrace this truth, you stop measuring your worth by someone else's standards and begin to recognize your own inherent value. As you journey through life, the most empowering thing you can do is to remember that you are irreplaceable. Your journey is yours alone, and the impact you make on the world is uniquely yours to create. You will encounter moments where you feel lost or uncertain, but remember, those are only temporary. The world needs you just as you are, with all of your imperfections and strengths. Your presence, your actions, your options, your love, and your authenticity are irreplaceable. Every day, you are making a difference in ways you may never fully see, and that's the power of being irreplaceable. The realization that you are irreplaceable is liberating. It frees you from the constant need to prove yourself, to compare yourself, or to seek external validation. It allows you to walk through life with confidence, knowing that you are exactly as you are meant to be. You do not need to change to be valuable. You do not need to fit into anyone else's mold. You are unique, you are powerful, and you are irreplaceable. In embracing this truth, you give yourself permission to live fully and authentically. When you understand your irreplaceable nature, you stop living in the shadow of others and start shining as your true self. The world is waiting for you just as you are. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise. You are irreplaceable, and that is your greatest strength. In conclusion, understanding and embracing the truth that you are irreplaceable can be one of the most empowering realizations of your life. Your unique qualities, experiences, and perspectives make you a one-of-a-kind presence in this world. Every action you take, every relationship you nurture, and every moment you live contributes to the beauty and richness of existence in ways you may not always see. By recognizing your irreplaceability, you can stop comparing yourself to others and begin to live fully in your own truth, honoring your worth without seeking external validation. Remember, you are exactly as you are meant to be, and that is enough. Thank you for embracing your irreplaceable self and for sharing your energy with the world. Keep shining brightly. Your presence is a gift. There is a profound truth that governs this life we live. The one who places God above all else lacks nothing. When you align yourself with the infinite, when you make the divine presence your anchor, everything else, wealth, love, purpose, falls into place. But what does it mean to put God first? It is not a mere statement of faith or a ritual of worship. It is a daily, moment-by-moment practice of prioritizing the unseen over the seen, the eternal over the temporary. When you live from this center, you are no longer swayed by the shifting winds of life. Challenges may arise, but they lose their power to destabilize you because you are rooted in something eternal. The divine center is not outside of you, it resides within, waiting to be acknowledged. This is the great mystery. The same power that created the stars and moves the tides also dwells in the depths of your being. To recognize this is to awaken to your true nature. Most people live scattered lives, pulled in countless directions by desires, fears, and obligations. They chase success, relationships, or material wealth, believing these things will bring fulfillment. But this outward striving only leads to exhaustion, because it ignores the source from which all blessings flow. Divine centering requires a shift in perspective, a turning inward. It is the practice of realizing that everything you seek externally already exists in its fullness within you. When you make this realization, the world outside becomes a reflection of your inner alignment, rather than a force that dictates your state of being. Listen to yourself in the divine is to prioritize the unseen over the seen. This means trusting in the power of faith, imagination, and belief even when circumstances appear contrary. It is not about denying the reality of challenges, but about refusing to give them dominion over your spirit. When you are centered, you are no longer a victim of life's fluctuations. You become a creator, consciously shaping your experiences by aligning with the higher power within. This alignment begins with stillness. In the quiet moments when you withdraw from the distractions of the world, you find the presence of the divine. It speaks not in words but in the gentle assurance that all is well, that you are supported, loved, and guided. This stillness is not mere inactivity, it is a dynamic connection with the infinite, a place where inspiration flows and clarity emerges. Through meditation, prayer, or simple moments of reflection, you tap into this reservoir of wisdom and power. Divine centering also requires faith, not blind faith, but a knowing that transcends logic and evidence. Faith is the bridge between what is and what can be. When you center your life on the divine, you trust in outcomes before they manifest. You understand that your imagination is a powerful tool given to you by the Creator to shape your reality. By seeing yourself as already healed, abundant, or fulfilled in your mind's eye, you align with the divine vision for your life. Living from the divine center transforms your relationships, your work, and your sense of self. You no longer seek validation or security from external sources because you are anchored in a power that cannot be shaken. This does not mean you abandon the world or its responsibilities. Rather, you approach them from a place of wholeness. You give freely because you are not afraid of lack. You love deeply because you are not attached to outcomes. You work diligently because your efforts are an expression of the divine flow through you, not a desperate attempt to prove your worth. When you make the divine your center, life becomes a harmonious dance. Obstacles that once seemed insurmountable are dissolved, not through struggle, but through the realization that they were never separate from the divine plan. The things you once chased begin to flow effortlessly into your life because you are no longer resisting them with fear or doubt. You understand that the universe is conspiring in your favor, and your role is simply to remain aligned with this truth. Divine centering is not a one-time decision but a continual practice. It requires vigilance, for the world will constantly pull you away, tempting you to place your faith in external circumstances. But every moment is an opportunity to return to your center, to reaffirm your trust in the infinite power within. When you do, you will find that you are never truly lost, for the divine is always there, waiting to guide you back to the truth of who you are. Imagination is the sacred tool through which the divine communicates with you. It is not merely the realm of fantasy or idle daydreaming, it is the language of creation, the voice of God whispering within your mind. When you recognize the true power of imagination, you understand that it is not separate from the divine. Instead, it is the divine itself seeking to express, create, and manifest through you. From the beginning of time, every great achievement, every monumental discovery, and every work of art has been birthed in the imagination. It is the blueprint of reality, the invisible stage upon which all things take form before they manifest in the physical world. Yet, so often, people dismiss imagination as insignificant, failing to see that it is their direct connection to the infinite creative power of the universe. To ignore your imagination is to ignore God's voice within you. Through imagination, the divine plants desires, ideas, and visions in your heart. These are not random or meaningless, they are the seeds of your purpose, waiting to be nurtured into reality. When you imagine something deeply and vividly, you are engaging in an act of creation. You are shaping the unseen substance of the universe into a form that aligns with your vision. This process is not passive, it requires faith and intention. To imagine is to say, I believe this is possible, even when your physical senses may suggest otherwise. Imagination is also the realm where you can commune with the divine. In the stillness of your mind, when you allow your thoughts to flow freely, you open a channel for divine inspiration. These moments of clarity, insight, or creative brilliance are not accidents. They are the voice of God speaking to you, guiding you toward your highest good. But to hear this voice, you must silence the noise of doubt, fear, and limitation. You must trust that your imagination is not leading you astray but drawing you closer to the life you were meant to live. Many people misuse their imagination, allowing it to be dominated by worry, fear, and negative scenarios. They rehearse their failures, anticipate rejection, and dwell on problems, inadvertently creating more of the very things they wish to avoid. What they do not realize is that their imagination is always active, always creating. It does not discriminate between positive and negative thoughts, it simply brings into form whatever is most vividly held in the mind. To use imagination wisely is to discipline it, directing it toward visions of joy, success, and fulfillment. When you understand imagination as the voice of God within, you begin to use it intentionally. Instead of allowing your mind to wander aimlessly, you choose to dwell on the good you wish to see in your life. You see yourself as healthy, even if illness persists. You imagine abundance, even if your bank account is empty. You picture harmony, even if conflict surrounds you. This is not denial, it is an act of faith. You are aligning with the divine reality that exists beyond appearances. Imagination also gives you the power to transform your past. While you cannot change events, you can reimagine their meaning. Through the lens of imagination, painful experiences can become lessons, and losses can reveal hidden blessings. This ability to reshape your perception is another way the divine speaks to you, reminding you that you are not bound by what has been, but are free to create what will be. Children often demonstrate the purest use of imagination. They see the world not as it is, but as it could be, untainted by doubt or limitation. As adults, we are called to return to this childlike faith not in naivety, but in a deep spiritual understanding of our creative power. When you embrace imagination as God's voice within, you reclaim this innocence and possibility. Imagination is not just a tool, it is a sacred responsibility. Each time you use it, you are co-creating with the divine, shaping the world not only for yourself, but for those around you. To honor this gift is to honor the Creator, recognizing that you are a vessel through which the infinite expresses itself. By listening to the voice of imagination and acting upon its guidance, you align with your divine purpose and step into the fullness of who you are meant to be. Faith is the cornerstone of all creation, the unseen force that binds the invisible with the visible, the formless with the formed. It is the ultimate priority because it determines the essence of your life. Without faith, even the grandest visions crumble under the weight of doubt and fear. With faith, mountains move, obstacles dissolve, and what once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. Faith is not a passive hope, but an active trust in the unseen power that governs all things. It is the assurance that what you desire is not only possible, but already present, waiting to manifest. To make faith your ultimate priority is to choose it above fear, doubt, and appearances. It is to believe in the promise of the unseen even when everything around you seems contrary. Faith does not require evidence, it creates evidence. It does not rely on what the physical senses perceive, it draws from the limitless reservoir of possibilities that exist beyond them. Faith is the bridge between your inner vision and your external reality. When you prioritize it, you align yourself with the creative power of the universe, allowing it to work through you without resistance. Faith begins in the mind. What you consistently hold as true in your thoughts will eventually express itself in your life. This is not a matter of wishful thinking, but a law of creation. The mind is the soil, and faith is the seed. When you plant the seed of belief and nurture it with focus and intention, it grows into the reality you experience. However, if the soil is filled with weeds of doubt and fear, the seed struggles to take root. This is why faith must be guarded and prioritized above all else. It requires vigilance, a deliberate choice to turn away from negativity and toward the assurance of the good you desire. Living with faith as your priority means trusting in the unseen processes that bring your desires to fruition. It is like planting a seed in the ground. You do not dig it up daily to check its progress. You trust that the earth, water, and sunlight are working together to bring it to life. Similarly, when you act in faith, you release the need to control every detail and instead rest in the certainty that what you have envisioned is on its way. This trust frees you from anxiety and allows you to live in peace, even while waiting for the manifestation. Faith is also a practice of gratitude. When you believe that your desires are already fulfilled, you naturally feel thankful, even before you see the results. Gratitude is a powerful force that amplifies faith, creating a cycle of belief and blessing. By expressing thanks for what you have yet to receive, you affirm your trust in the process and open yourself to greater abundance. This is not blind optimism, but a profound understanding of how the universe responds to faith and focus. Making faith your ultimate priority transforms how you respond to challenges. In moments of difficulty, faith reminds you that setbacks are not the end, but a stepping stone to greater things. It helps you see beyond the immediate problem to the larger picture, trusting that every obstacle carries within it the seed of a solution. Faith gives you resilience, enabling you to stand firm when circumstances seem overwhelming. It is the anchor that keeps you grounded in truth when the storms of life threaten to shake you. Faith is not dependent on the approval or validation of others. It is a deeply personal connection between you and the divine source within you. When you prioritize faith, you stop seeking external guarantees and instead rely on the quiet assurance of your inner knowing. This inner conviction gives you the courage to take bold steps, even when the path ahead is unclear. It allows you to act as if the promise is already fulfilled, for you know that your belief is the first step toward its realization. To make faith the ultimate priority is to surrender the need to know how or when your desires will manifest. It is to trust that the same power that placed the desire within you is already orchestrating the means to fulfill it. This surrender is not a sign of weakness, but of strength, for it acknowledges that the divine wisdom guiding your life is far greater than your limited understanding. In every moment, you have a choice to live by faith or to live by fear. When you choose faith, you align yourself with the infinite possibilities of the universe. You become a co-creator with the divine, shaping your reality through trust and belief. Faith as the ultimate priority is not just a spiritual ideal, it is a practical necessity. It is the foundation upon which all success, joy, and fulfillment are built. When you live by faith, you open the door to a life beyond your wildest dreams. The world often encourages you to look outward for guidance, validation, and fulfillment. It tells you that the answers to your problems lie in material success, relationships, or external circumstances. But no matter how far you search, the external world will always fall short, because it is merely a reflection of your inner state. The inner kingdom is the source, the cause behind every effect you experience. To access it is to tap into the wellspring of creation, where the true answers are found. This kingdom operates in stillness, beyond the noise and distractions of daily life. To enter it, you must turn your attention inward, away from the constant demands of the senses and the restless chatter of the mind. This turning inward is not an act of withdrawal, but of profound connection. It is a journey to the core of your being, where you find the presence of the divine. In this silence, the answers you seek begin to emerge, not as a voice shouting over the chaos, but as a quiet knowing, a gentle certainty that guides you with clarity and wisdom. The answers within the inner kingdom do not always come in the form of immediate solutions or step-by-step instructions. Often they come as a shift in perspective, a deeper understanding of yourself and the situation at hand. You may find that the questions you thought were so pressing dissolve in the light of this inner wisdom. Problems lose their weight, not because they disappear, but because you see them from the vantage point of your higher self, the part of you that is connected to the infinite. The inner kingdom is also the realm of imagination, the divine faculty through which you shape your reality. When you envision the life you desire, you are drawing upon the creative power of this kingdom. Your imagination is not separate from this inner source, it is one of its greatest gifts, allowing you to see beyond current circumstances and into the realm of possibility. By imagining with faith and intention, you activate the power of the inner kingdom to bring your visions into reality. One of the most profound truths about the inner kingdom is that it is always accessible. No matter how far you feel you've strayed, no matter how lost or disconnected you may seem, the kingdom within remains unchanged. It does not judge or withhold its gifts, it simply waits for you to turn your attention back to it. In every moment you have the power to reconnect, to quiet your mind and listen to the wisdom that flows from within. As you learn to live from the inner kingdom, you begin to see the world differently. You no longer feel the need to control or force outcomes, for you understand that everything unfolds from within. You approach life with a sense of peace, knowing that you carry the answers to all things within you. Challenges become opportunities for growth, and uncertainty becomes an invitation to trust the process of creation. The inner kingdom is not just a place of answers, it is a place of profound joy, love, and fulfillment. It is the source of your deepest desires and the means through which they are realized. To dwell in this kingdom is to live in harmony with the divine, to experience life as it was meant to be free, abundant, and filled with purpose. When you recognize that the inner kingdom holds all answers, you step into the fullness of your true self, empowered to create a life that reflects the infinite beauty within. Your true desires are not arbitrary whims or fleeting thoughts, they are the whispers of God's will within you. They are the compass guiding you toward your highest purpose, placed in your heart not by accident, but by divine intention. To understand this is to see your desires not as selfish or materialistic pursuits, but as sacred calls to action, aligning you with the infinite wisdom and love of the Creator. God's will and your deepest desires are one and the same, for He speaks to you through the longings of your heart, urging you to step into the fullness of your potential. Many misunderstand the nature of desire, viewing it as something to suppress or deny in the pursuit of spiritual growth. Yet true desires, the ones that resonate deeply within your soul, are not born of ego or greed. They come from a place of divine inspiration, a reflection of the life God intends for you to live. These desires are uniquely yours, tailored to your journey, and are meant to lead you toward experiences that will expand your understanding of love, joy, and purpose. When you align with your true desires, you are not acting against God's will, you are fulfilling it. These desires are like seeds planted in your heart, waiting to be nurtured through faith and action. They are meant to grow into expressions of the divine, manifesting in ways that not only bless you but also serve the greater good. To ignore or dismiss these desires is to deny the creative power within you, the same power through which God brings His will to life. Living in harmony with God's will means trusting the desires He has placed within you, even when they challenge you or seem impossible. Often these desires will require you to step out of your comfort zone, to let go of limiting beliefs, and to embrace the unknown. This is not a test of your worthiness, but an invitation to grow. Through the pursuit of your true desires, you become more of who you were created to be, discovering strengths and gifts you may not have known you possessed. Your desires also serve as a form of divine communication, a way for God to reveal His will for your life. They are not random, they are deeply connected to your unique gifts and the contributions you are meant to make in the world. By following them, you align with the greater plan, becoming a vessel through which God's love and creativity flow. In this way, pursuing your desires is not selfish, it is an act of service, fulfilling your role in the intricate tapestry of life. The obstacles you encounter on this journey are not signs that your desires are misguided. Instead, they are opportunities to deepen your faith, refine your character, and strengthen your resolve. Every challenge you face in pursuit of your desires carries within it the seeds of transformation. These moments are where you learn to trust in God's timing and wisdom, knowing that delays and detours are part of the process, shaping you into the person who can fully receive and steward the blessings ahead. It is also important to discern between fleeting wants and true desires. Superficial wants often stem from fear, comparison, or societal pressures, while true desires come from a place of inner peace and alignment. You will recognize these desires by the sense of purpose and fulfillment they bring, even before they manifest. They resonate deeply within you, carrying an undeniable sense of rightness that transcends logic or external validation. To live in alignment with God's will is to embrace your desires with confidence and gratitude. It is to see them as sacred, trusting that they are leading you toward a life that glorifies God and blesses others. This alignment does not mean you will never face uncertainty or struggle, but it does mean you will always have a guiding light within, pointing you toward your highest good. When you honor your true desires, you honor God. You acknowledge His presence within you and His loving plan for your life. By stepping into this alignment, you become a co-creator with the divine, bringing His will to life in ways that inspire, uplift, and transform. In this partnership, you find not only the fulfillment of your desires, but also the deep peace and joy of living in harmony with the Creator. The world is filled with temptations that entice us into believing that our worth and happiness are tied to external things, possessions, achievements, relationships, and status. These worldly attachments create the illusion of permanence and fulfillment, but they are fleeting and ever-changing. To anchor yourself in them is to build your life on a foundation of shifting sands. True peace and freedom come only when you see through the illusion and recognize that your essence is not dependent on what you have or achieve, but on the divine presence within you. Worldly attachments thrive on the promise of satisfaction, but they deliver only momentary gratification. The pursuit of wealth, recognition, or approval may provide temporary highs, yet they always leave an insatiable void, urging you to seek more. This cycle is not a reflection of failure or inadequacy, but of the nature of external things. They cannot provide lasting fulfillment because they are not designed to. Fulfillment comes from within, from a connection to the infinite and unchanging source of all life. Attachments arise when you identify yourself with what you possess or achieve. You begin to believe that your value is tied to your material success, your relationships, or the roles you play in life. This identification is the root of much suffering, for it binds you to a constant state of striving and fearing loss. When you derive your sense of self from the external, you become vulnerable to the inevitable changes of life. Wealth can fade, relationships can shift, and status can diminish, leaving you feeling adrift and powerless. The illusion of worldly attachments is deeply tied to the idea of control. You may cling to things or people, believing that by holding on tightly, you can prevent loss or maintain happiness. Yet control is another aspect of the illusion. Life is in constant motion, and the more you try to grasp at its impermanence, the more it slips through your fingers. Freedom is not found in holding on, but in letting go, in trusting that the divine order of the universe will provide all that you need. Detachment does not mean renouncing the world or rejecting its beauty and opportunities. It means engaging with life without being enslaved by it. You can enjoy the blessings of material abundance, relationships, and achievements, but you do so with the awareness that they are not the source of your worth or happiness. Detachment is not indifference, it is freedom. It allows you to live fully and gratefully, knowing that your true identity and joy are independent of external circumstances. The illusion of worldly attachments is often reinforced by fear of loss, rejection, or failure. These fears keep you bound to what is familiar, even when it no longer serves your highest good. To break free, you must confront these fears with faith, trusting that letting go will not leave you empty, but will open the way for something greater. When you release your grip on the transient, you create space for the eternal to flow into your life. Recognizing the illusion requires a shift in perception. You begin to see the external world not as the ultimate reality, but as a reflection of your inner state. The things you once chased for validation become mirrors, showing you where you have placed your power outside yourself. This awareness is not a cause for despair, but a call to reclaim your sovereignty. It reminds you that true security and fulfillment come not from what you acquire, but from your alignment with the divine source within you. When you see through the illusion, you realize that you are not here to accumulate but to express. You are a vessel for divine creativity, love, and wisdom, and your purpose is to bring these qualities into the world. The things and experiences you once sought as ends in themselves become tools for growth and expression, no longer chains that bind you but instruments that serve your journey. The practice of letting go is not always easy. It requires faith, courage, and patience. But as you release your attachments, you begin to experience a profound sense of peace and freedom. You discover that the less you cling, the more you receive, and the less you fear, the more you are able to love. Letting go is not a loss, it is a return to your true nature, a state of unity with the infinite abundance of life. Worldly attachments lose their power when you anchor yourself in the eternal. As you turn inward, you find the unshakable foundation that cannot be taken or diminished. This inner connection is the source of all that is good, true, and lasting. From this place you engage with the world not as a seeker, but as a creator, not as one in need, but as one who is whole. The illusion fades and you step into the reality of your divine essence, free and fulfilled. Living from the fulfillment of oneness is the ultimate realization of your true nature and the divine unity that underpins all existence. This fulfillment begins the awareness with the understanding that separation is an illusion. From the others, world often appears the fragmented, flow of creation, filled with distinctions and divisions. Self oneness and is not merely a concept to be intellectually understood, but a profound state of being. But these dualities are simply manifestations of the mind's tendency to categorize and label. All you desire, beneath this surface, and all you strive for already exists lies the unchanging reality you and the Creator are one. You are a part of this wholeness, intricately connected to every aspect of existence. To live from this oneness is to rise above the illusion of division and embrace the infinite nature of your being. Oneness is the essence of abundance, for there is no lack in unity. When you live with the awareness that you are one with the Creator, you understand that the source of all life, creativity, and prosperity is already within you. There is no need to grasp, beg, or strive endlessly for external things, because you recognize that what you desire is not separate from you. It flows through you, and is available to you as soon as you align with it in consciousness. To live from the fulfillment of oneness is to embody the truth that you already are what you seek. This state of fulfillment is not dependent on circumstances. It does not require the perfect job, the ideal relationship, or the resolution of every challenge. Instead, it arises from the recognition that your worth and peace come from within, from your divine connection to the whole. Circumstances may change, challenges may come and go, but the sense of oneness remains constant. It is the unshakable foundation that allows you to move through life with grace, confidence, and joy. To live from oneness is also to transcend fear and doubt. Fear arises from the belief in separation, the idea that you are alone, vulnerable, or lacking something essential. But when you know that you are one with the infinite, fear loses its grip. You trust the divine flow of life, knowing that you are always supported, always guided, and always provided for. This trust allows you to act with courage and faith, knowing that every step you take is part of the greater unfolding of your purpose. The fulfillment of oneness transforms your relationships. When you see others as extensions of the same divine essence that flows through you, you no longer feel the need to compete, judge, or compare. Love becomes your natural response, because you recognize that in loving others, you are loving yourself and honoring the Creator. This perspective dissolves conflict, heals wounds, and fosters deep, meaningful connections. Relationships cease to be transactions or sources of validation, and instead become opportunities to express and receive the infinite love that flows through all of creation. Living from oneness also reshapes how you approach challenges. You no longer see obstacles as barriers but as invitations to grow and expand. You understand that the same creative power that birthed the universe resides within you, enabling you to overcome any difficulty. Your challenges become opportunities to deepen your connection to the divine and to express the fullness of your potential. With this awareness, you face life with resilience and optimism, knowing that every experience is part of your journey toward greater self-realization. The fulfillment of oneness brings a profound sense of peace. It quiets the restless mind, dissolves the need for validation, and frees you from the endless pursuit of external goals. This peace does not come from avoiding life's complexities, but from embracing them with the understanding that you are never alone, never lacking, and never separate from the divine. It is a peace that allows you to be fully present, living fully from alive, the fulfillment of and oneness, fully engaged is the realization that your life is not a quest to become something but an awakening to what you already are. You are a divine expression of the infinite, complete and whole in every way. When you live from this awareness, you radiate love, joy, and abundance, inspiring others to see the same truth within themselves. In oneness, you find not only fulfillment, but also the profound realization that you are, and have always been, one with all that is. In conclusion, to put God first above all else is to live in alignment with the divine truth of your being. It is to recognize that the Creator is not separate from you, but is the essence of all that you are and all that you experience. By centering your life on this truth, you transcend the illusions of separation, fear, and lack, and step into the fullness of divine unity, abundance, and peace. When you live with faith, guided by the divine will within, you unlock the limitless power of oneness and discover that everything you seek has always been within you. As you journey forward, may you continually choose to release attachments to the transient and embrace the eternal presence of God within you. Let this divine awareness be the foundation of your life, guiding your actions, shaping your relationships, and bringing you the fulfillment that can only come from living as one with the infinite. Thank you for opening your heart and mind to these words. May they inspire and empower you to live in the profound joy and freedom of divine unity. Blessings to you always.
Wealth is not something that comes to you from the outside. It is not something you chase, beg for, or hope will arrive someday. Wealth is the reflection of your inner conviction, and when you dare to claim it inwardly, the entire universe rearranges itself to match your belief. Your imagination is the seedbed of riches. What you accept as real in the silence of your mind, the world must present to you in form. If you picture yourself abundant, if you feel the security of wealth as though it were already yours, then wealth is no longer a distant dream. It is your present reality awaiting expression. Do not wait for the evidence. Waiting is denying. To wait for wealth is to postpone it indefinitely. Instead, Assume the state of already being wealthy. Walk as though money flows to you freely. Think, speak, and act from the consciousness of abundance, and you will see the invisible made visible. The world outside is only a mirror. If it reflects lack, it is because lack was accepted within. But the moment you reject the poverty of thought, the reflection must change. Life cannot resist the conviction of a soul who knows they are already rich. Detach yourself from appearances. Let others speak of recession, debt, and difficulty. You live in a higher law. In your inner kingdom, there is only plenty, only increase, only growth. The more you dwell in this truth, the faster the outer world bends to it. Hold to the state. Persist in the feeling of wealth even when your senses show otherwise. Persistence is the secret of the shift. What is unseen will become seen, what is imagined will become tangible, and what is believed will become lived. Seal it with gratitude, not for what you hope will come, but for what you know is already yours. Gratitude multiplies, gratitude affirms, gratitude anchors your wealth in reality. So I tell you now, your reality is turning into wealth. Watch the shift. Do not strain, do not force. Simply allow the wealth within to unfold without. Trust that the unseen is already at work, and soon you will see with your eyes what you have long seen with your spirit. Imagination is the seed of wealth, because every form, structure, invention, and fortune that exists today was first conceived in the mind of someone who dared to believe it into being. The skyscraper did not rise from the ground until it first stood tall in the architect's vision. The great companies of the world were once only an idea, quietly nurtured in someone's imagination before they manifested in the marketplace. Wealth is never born from circumstance, environment, or chance. It springs from the inner vision you carry, for life itself is compelled to bring into form the reality you consistently hold within. When you vividly hold an image of abundance, when you picture yourself living with freedom, ease, and prosperity, you are planting a seed in the fertile soil of your subconscious. That seed must grow, for the subconscious is never barren. It faithfully brings forth the fruit of whatever is planted in it. If you sow seeds of lack, thoughts of not enough, fears of poverty, and constant worry, those seeds will sprout into more experiences of scarcity. But if you plant wealth, joy, and plenty, if you water them with faith and feed them with feeling, the harvest must reflect abundance. The imagination is not idle fantasy. It is creative power in its purest form. Every scene you play in the theater of your mind is shaping your tomorrow. The emotions you attach to those scenes act as nourishment, giving them life. To imagine wealth is to place yourself in the consciousness of wealth, and consciousness is always expressed. You cannot remain in the state of abundance inwardly without it eventually reflecting outwardly. Likewise, you cannot live in the state of lack inwardly and expect abundance to appear outside. Imagination does not ask whether you are worthy, whether you are educated enough, or whether your present bank account says you are wealthy. It only asks what you dare to accept as true. The world may show you empty pockets today, but if within you walk as one who is already rich, if you see yourself enjoying the things that wealth provides, and if you accept this inner picture as your reality, then the world must conform. The outer life is a servant, the inner vision is the master. To vividly hold within the feeling of wealth is to give life to it. When you close your eyes and feel the texture of money in your hands, when you sense the relief of all debts paid, when you hear the sound of laughter in a life of freedom, you are aligning yourself with the reality of wealth. That alignment is magnetic. It draws circumstances, people, opportunities, and channels into your experience to fulfill what you already know inside. Therefore, treat your imagination as the sacred ground where fortune begins. Do not waste it on worry or limitation. Use it deliberately. Plant the images of wealth, nurture them with persistence, and trust that what you vividly hold within must inevitably appear without. For imagination is not only the seed of wealth, it is the law by which wealth appears. To assume the feeling of wealth now is to bypass the endless waiting game that most people live in. Too often individuals postpone their abundance until conditions improve, until money arrives, until opportunities fall into their hands. They think wealth will come when their outer world changes, but this is the very illusion that keeps them trapped in lack. The truth is that the outer world is always the echo of the inner state. If you wait for circumstances to change before you feel wealthy, you are declaring that you are not wealthy now, and life can only confirm that belief. The secret is to wear the state of abundance as your present reality. Do not ask how it will come or when it will appear. Do not concern yourself with the outer mechanics of supply. Instead, clothe yourself in the invisible garment of wealth now. Feel it as though it were already so. Imagine walking into a room with the quiet confidence of one who lacks nothing. Imagine the ease in your step, the relaxation in your body, the assurance in your voice. When you wear that state inwardly, life has no choice but to bring you experiences that match it. To assume the feeling of wealth is not about pretending or deceiving yourself. It is about aligning with a higher truth. Wealth is not a distant possibility. It exists right now as a state of consciousness. When you choose to step into it, you shift your entire relationship with life. Money becomes a servant, not a master. Opportunities flow because you are tuned to see them. People respond differently because you carry an unseen authority. Your energy announces what you believe about yourself long before you speak. Do not wait for the bank account to swell before you feel rich. Waiting only delays the manifestation. Begin today to cultivate the inner atmosphere of wealth. Ask yourself, how would I think if I were already abundant? How would I walk, speak, and carry myself? What would I no longer worry about? What joy would I allow myself to feel? Step into that identity now, even if the outer picture seems unchanged. Remember, the seed grows beneath the surface before it breaks through the soil. This inner assumption is not wishful thinking. It is creative law. The feeling of wealth calls forth the experience of wealth. It is the magnet that draws to you the resources, ideas, and circumstances that make it visible. By living as though you already have what you desire, you set into motion the unseen forces of life that conspire to fulfill your belief. The world must yield to the state you persist in. So, do not wait another day. Refuse to postpone your abundance. Begin now to walk in the consciousness of wealth. Wear it as naturally as you wear your own skin. Think from it, speak from it, and act from it. Soon you will discover that life has reshaped itself to fit the state you dared to assume. Wealth was not waiting for tomorrow, it was waiting for you to claim it today. The outer world bends to the inner conviction because life is nothing more than a mirror reflecting your dominant beliefs, attitudes, and assumptions. What you see around you is not random, nor is it a product of chance. It is the exact outpicturing of what you have accepted as true within yourself. If you believe in limitation, the world will present obstacles. If you believe in freedom, the world will show you open doors. This is why two people can walk through the same city, face the same economy, and live in the same environment, yet one prospers while the other struggles. The difference is not the world they live in, but the conviction they carry inside. Conviction is not simply wishful thinking or idle daydreaming. Conviction is the state of knowing, the inner acceptance that this is so. Once a truth is accepted within, the outer world must bend to it, no matter how strong appearances seem. The world is obedient to the law of belief. It does not resist, argue, or debate. It simply echoes what you hold most firmly in consciousness. Just as a mirror cannot reflect an image that is not in front of it, life cannot give you experiences outside the range of your convictions. If you accept lack as your reality, then opportunities will seem scarce and life will keep proving that belief to you. But if you accept abundance as your natural state, you will find that the same world bends differently for you. Doors open, ideas appear, and circumstances align in your favor. It is not the world that changes first, it is your inner conviction that shifts the pattern, and then the world follows obediently. This is why forcing the outer world rarely works. People labor endlessly, fighting conditions, arguing with circumstances, trying to bend life by sheer effort. Yet, if their inner conviction remains rooted in fear, doubt, or unworthiness, their efforts collapse. The outer world bends only to conviction, not to struggle. The moment you inwardly shift, the outer begins to yield. It may take time to arrange itself, just as a seed takes time to sprout, but the bending begins the moment the inner state changes. Therefore, guard what you accept as true. Do not accept appearances blindly, for appearances are only reflections of past states. They have no lasting power unless you continue to affirm them within. When the world shows you lack, you can choose to reject it inwardly and instead claim abundance. When the world presents difficulty, you can hold to the conviction of ease. The world cannot help but rearrange itself to reflect your choice. For life has no independent reality apart from what you assume. The power lies not in the circumstances, but in your conviction. When you know this deeply, you no longer fear the outer world. You no longer chase after it, beg it to change, or despair over what it shows. Instead, you go within, adjust your state, and rest in the knowing that the world must bend. Life is faithful, for it has no will of its own. It can only mirror the truth you dare to accept. Detach from appearances, for the world of the senses is only a shadow play. What you see with your eyes and touch with your hands is not the ultimate truth, but the echo of former beliefs. Poverty, lack, and limitation may seem real, but they are nothing more than passing images, reflections of a state you once entertained within. To cling to appearances is to give them power, and what you empower in consciousness you prolong in experience. But the moment you refuse to grant them reality, they begin to dissolve like mist before the sun. When you look at your outer world and see bills, debts, or circumstances of lack, you are tempted to declare, "This is the truth." Yet in doing so, you chain yourself to that condition. The truth is not in the shadow, but in the substance behind it. Your imagination, your inner conviction. What you choose to accept within is the true cause, while what you see outside is only the effect. To be free, you must learn to detach from the illusion of appearances and claim your inner authority. Detachment does not mean denial and fear or pretending that what you see is not there. It means recognizing appearances for what they are, temporary expressions of an old state of mind. Just as a photograph shows a moment already past, your present conditions are simply snapshots of former beliefs. If you dislike the picture, do not fight the photograph. Change the state that produced it, turn away from the outer evidence, and anchor yourself in the unseen reality of abundance. Poverty is only a shadow, and shadows have no substance. Lack and limitation are illusions that collapse. When you withdraw your belief, the more attention you give to them, the more life you breathe into them. But the moment you detach, refusing to acknowledge them as your truth, they weaken. This is why your inner world is so powerful. By dwelling on wealth, by imagining freedom, by feeling the richness of life as already yours, you strip poverty of its false authority. The outer world must then align with your refusal to believe in lack. Consider the sun and the shadow it casts. The shadow moves, changes shape, and sometimes looks imposing, but it has no life of its own. It only exists because of the light behind it. So it is with appearances. They may loom large, but they are powerless without your agreement. When you shift your focus from the shadow to the light of your inner vision, the shadow must change. Detach from appearances by holding firmly to your inner state. If the world shows you emptiness, declare fullness within. If the world shows you delay, accept the reality of now in your heart. Refuse to be swayed by temporary evidence, for the evidence always bends to your persistence. In time, what once looked immovable will crumble, and in its place will appear the abundance you chose to honor. The one who masters detachment from appearances masters life itself. For when you cease giving power to shadows, only light remains, and with it comes freedom, wealth, and endless possibility. Persistence brings the shift, because the outer world, though it may appear solid and unmoving, is nothing more than a reflection of inner states continuously impressed upon it. When you adopt the state of wealth within yourself, you plant a seed. That seed may not bloom overnight, but if you persist in holding to it, the outer world has no choice but to conform. It is law. What is sustained in consciousness must eventually materialize in experience. The reason most people fail to see change is not because the law does not work for them, but because they abandon their inner state too quickly. They imagine wealth one moment, and then, when appearances do not instantly shift, they return to worry, doubt, and fear. In doing so, they uproot the very seed they planted. The soil of the subconscious demands persistence. It requires repeated nourishment until the new state takes root so deeply that nothing can shake. Only then does the outer reflection change. To persist is not to strain or force, but to return again and again to the inner conviction of abundance. It means refusing to let temporary appearances dictate your belief. When bills arrive, you persist in the feeling of freedom. When doubts whisper, you persist in the assurance of wealth. Persistence is faith in action, the quiet knowing that what you hold within is greater than what you see without. Consider the sculptor with a block of marble. Each stroke of the chisel may appear small, even insignificant, but the sculptor persists, knowing that every action shapes the form hidden inside. So it is with your inner work. Each time you return to the feeling of wealth, each time you imagine abundance as though it were already yours, you are shaping the unseen substance of life. Persistence guarantees that, in time, the masterpiece will appear. The outer world resists not because it has power of its own, but because old beliefs still linger. These remnants of former states try to hold their ground, but persistence weakens them until they dissolve. Just as darkness cannot withstand the steady presence of light, so lack cannot endure the persistence of wealth, consciousness. The shift occurs not in a single leap, but in the unwavering choice to remain faithful to the inner vision despite all appearances. Persistence also builds strength. Each time you choose to hold the state of wealth, you deepen your authority over your own mind. You prove to yourself that you are not at the mercy of circumstances, but master over them. With every return to abundance in thought and feeling, your conviction grows. And as your conviction strengthens, the world bends more quickly. Therefore, persist. Persist when the evidence is against you. Persist when the delay seems long. Persist when doubts surround you. For persistence brings the shift. Life must obey the one who refuses to surrender the inner state. The wealth you hold within will one day stand before you as fact, because the outer world can never resist the power of a conviction sustained. Gratitude seals the transformation because it is the final act of faith. When you give thanks for something before it appears in the outer world, you are declaring that it already belongs to you. Gratitude is not a reaction to what is seen, it is the affirmation of what is unseen. It is the invisible stamp that confirms your desire has already been granted. By entering into the spirit of thankfulness, you align yourself with the reality you seek. And in doing so, you open the floodgates of manifestation. When a person prays and then continues to doubt, they delay the answer. But when they pray and immediately give thanks, they are saying within themselves, "It is done." Gratitude, therefore, is more than polite manners, it is spiritual certainty. It carries the vibration of completion, of fulfillment, of having already received. When this feeling is impressed upon the subconscious, life must organize itself to reflect that state. Gratitude is the language of abundance, and the universe responds to it without fail. The mind that dwells in gratitude is never poor. Even before the riches arrive in visible form, the grateful soul feels rich, whole, and complete. This state of being attracts more to be thankful for. Just as a magnet draws iron, gratitude draws opportunities, ideas, and resources. It is impossible to maintain a spirit of genuine thanksgiving and remain in lack, for gratitude lifts you into the frequency of plenty, where lack cannot survive. Think of the farmer who sows seed. He does not wait for the harvest to appear before giving thanks. He thanks the earth, the rain, and the sun in advance, for he knows the harvest is inevitable. So it must be with you. The moment you plant the seed of wealth in imagination, begin to give thanks. Say within yourself, "Thank you, it is already mine." Do not wait for the evidence. Gratitude itself is the evidence of faith, and faith is the force that brings the invisible into view. When you walk in gratitude, you carry yourself differently. You no longer plead, chase, or beg life to deliver. You no longer measure your worth by outer appearances. Instead, you live in the calm assurance of one who already possesses. Gratitude becomes the song of your spirit, and that song reverberates through every aspect of your world, drawing to you blessings upon blessings. Even in moments where circumstances seem unchanged, gratitude keeps you aligned. It shields you from falling back into doubt and lack. It reminds you that the seed is growing, even if you cannot yet see the sprout. Gratitude says, "It is working, it is done, and I am already provided for." This inner certainty accelerates the manifestation, for nothing quickens the unseen into form more swiftly than a thankful heart. So give thanks, not as an afterthought, but as the seal upon your desire. Gratitude completes the cycle of creation. It transforms hope into certainty, imagination into reality, and desire into possession. When you live in gratitude, you discover that the floodgates of manifestation are already open, and life overflows with blessings beyond measure. And life overflows with blessings beyond measure. The truth is simple yet profound. Your reality is not fixed, it is fluid, bending always to the vision you hold within. Imagination plants the seed of wealth, assumption brings it into being, conviction shapes the world to match, detachment breaks the chains of illusion, persistence carries the state through resistance, and gratitude seals the transformation. When you live from these principles, you are no longer at the mercy of circumstances. You are the master of them. Wealth is not coming to you someday in the future. It is already unfolding in this very moment. Every thought, every feeling, every assumption you sustain is shaping tomorrow's harvest. Refuse to be swayed by shadows, refuse to bow to appearances, and hold steadfastly to the inner state of abundance. If you dare to remain faithful to what you see within, the outer world must conform, for it is only a mirror of your inner truth. So walk forward with confidence. Do not look back at lack, do not question the process, but live as though your wealth is here now, for indeed it is. Trust the unseen, persist in the vision, and let gratitude overflow from your heart. Watch the shift, for your reality is already turning into wealth. Thank you for listening, and may you step boldly into the abundance that is already yours. There are moments in life when you search in familiar places for your blessing, only to find nothing. You expect it in the obvious, in the predictable, in the doors that look wide open. Yet it does not appear there, and then, without warning, it arrives in the most unexpected corner, through a person you never thought of, in a situation you once resisted, or in a place you never wanted to be. The truth is, blessings are not confined to the places you think they should be. They do not follow your map, they follow divine order. What looks strange, what feels uncomfortable, what seems unimportant, this is often the very ground where your blessing is buried. The strange place is not a mistake. It is the stage upon which the gift is revealed. When life appears to push you into paths you did not choose, trust that there is a design beyond your understanding. What you call rejection may actually be redirection. The people who walked away made room for those who will lift you higher. The door that shut was only leading you to the one prepared with treasure inside. Do not fear the strange place. Do not despise it. What looks like emptiness may hold your abundance. What looks like wilderness may carry your promised land. God often wraps blessings in unusual coverings, so that only those with faith can recognize them. Your task is to look beyond appearances. If you judge by the surface, you will call it a setback. But if you trust the unseen hand, you will discover it was your elevation. Remember, the unexpected is not against you, it is for you. And when the blessing arrives in that strange place, it will not be small, it will not be ordinary, it will be greater than what you thought, because it comes with the element of surprise. It will confirm that you were never forgotten, that even in the strangest places, provision was waiting, with your name on it. So step into the unknown with faith. Release your fear of the unfamiliar. The blessing may not come where you expect it, but it will come. And when it does, it will surprise you, for it has been waiting all along in that strange place. The blessing is never where you expect it. Life hides its treasures in the unfamiliar, the overlooked, and the ordinary. We spend so much of our time searching in grand places, expecting miracles to come wrapped in brilliance, through doors wide open, or in opportunities that look perfect from the outside. We assume that blessings must arrive through recognized channels, from the people we already know, or from situations that seem promising. Yet, time and again, life proves us wrong. The blessing rarely comes in the form we imagine. It hides itself in quiet corners, waiting to be noticed by eyes that see beyond appearances. Think about the moments when something good entered your life unexpectedly. Perhaps it was a conversation with a stranger that opened the path to opportunity. Maybe it was the job you never thought you wanted that turned out to be the foundation of your success. Perhaps it was a rejection that felt painful at the time but pushed you toward a greater destiny. What seemed ordinary or even disappointing was the vessel carrying your blessing. This is how life works. It conceals treasure in the very places you overlook. The unfamiliar often frightens us, but it is in the unfamiliar that blessings lie in wait. We cling to the familiar because it feels safe, but familiarity rarely brings growth. When you step into something new, something strange, you create the space for unexpected blessings to meet you there. The unfamiliar is not your enemy, it is the soil in which seeds of greatness are planted. What you have never known may carry exactly what you have been longing for. The overlooked also holds treasure. We often bypass the small things, thinking they have no value. We dismiss small conversations, small beginnings, small opportunities. Yet the great oak begins as a tiny seed. The blessing may not shout, it whispers. It does not always arrive with applause. It comes quietly, waiting for you to see it. The overlooked moments, the people you ignore, the ordinary places you take for granted, these can hold the very treasure you have been seeking. Life does not hide blessings in places of pride. It hides them in humility, where only the patient and the attentive will discover them. And then there is the ordinary. How often do we miss the miracle of daily life because we are too focused on the extraordinary? We think blessings must be dramatic, but they are often disguised as ordinary routines. The food on your table, the roof over your head, the breath in your lungs, these are blessings. A smile from someone who cares, a word spoken at the right time, a moment of peace in the midst of chaos. These are treasures that cannot be measured. When you learn to see the ordinary as extraordinary, you begin to live in the abundance that was always around you. Homer. So the blessing is never where you expect it. It is not waiting in the spotlight, but hidden in the shadows of life, tucked away in places that require faith and vision to recognize. When you stop demanding that blessings look a certain way and begin to trust that they may arrive in strange packages, you open yourself to miracles. The unfamiliar, the overlooked, the ordinary, this is where life's richest treasures are waiting for you. The strange place is only strange until you see it with the eyes of faith. Then it becomes the doorway to your answered prayer. Life often takes us into situations that feel uncomfortable, unfamiliar, or even unwelcome. We call them strange places because they do not fit into our understanding, they do not look like the blessings we imagined, and they rarely resemble the path we thought we should be walking. These strange places can be a new city, a season of waiting, a job you never wanted, or even a relationship that challenges you to grow. At first glance, they seem unsettling, and you may be tempted to resist them. Yet what feels strange to your mind is often divine preparation for what your heart has been praying for. Faith is what transforms the strange into the sacred. Without faith, the strange place looks like confusion, loss, or detour. With faith, the same place becomes a passage, a bridge into the fulfillment of your desire. Faith is the lens that reveals meaning in what seemed meaningless, purpose in what felt empty, and blessing in what appeared as burden. The eyes of faith do not look at the present condition alone. They see beyond it. Faith whispers, "This is not the end. This is the beginning of your answered prayer." Consider how many times life shifted unexpectedly and placed you in a situation you never planned. At first it felt uncomfortable, but later you realized it was necessary. Perhaps the disappointment of not receiving what you wanted opened the space for something better. Perhaps the strange place of solitude revealed the strength you never knew you had. Perhaps the unfamiliar setting brought you into contact with the very people who would elevate your life. What began as a strange place transformed into the very doorway through which your prayer was answered. The key is perspective. If you judge the strange place too quickly, you miss its gift. What looks like wilderness today may reveal itself tomorrow as promised land. What looks like exile today may prove to be the soil of transformation. Every answered prayer requires a path, and sometimes that path does not look like the road you would have chosen. But the strange place is not against you, it is guiding you. The discomfort is only the shell. Inside it lies the seed of your blessing. Faith invites you to stand still in the strange place and trust the unseen. Instead of asking, "Why am I here?" ask, "What blessing is hidden here?" The moment you shift your perspective, the strange place no longer feels foreign. It becomes familiar because you recognize it as part of your journey. It becomes holy ground because you realize it holds the treasure you asked for, though disguised. So remember this. The strange place is not permanent. It is a passage. And once you choose to see it with the eyes of faith, you discover that it is not strange at all. It is the very doorway to your answered prayer, prepared for you long before you ever arrived. What you call delay, rejection, or detour may actually be the path where the blessing was waiting all along. So often in life, when things do not go according to our plans, we assume that something has gone wrong. We label the situation as failure, setback, or disappointment. We look at closed doors and unanswered prayers as if they were punishments, as if life has forgotten us. But the truth is far deeper. What appears as delay may simply be divine timing at work. What feels like rejection may be protection. What looks like a detour may be the exact route that carries you to the blessing you asked for, though in a way you never imagined. Delay is one of the most misunderstood gifts. When your desire does not arrive instantly, you may feel abandoned. But delay is not denial. It is preparation. The blessing you seek is real, but sometimes you are being shaped for it before it arrives. A farmer does not see the harvest the same day the seed is planted. There is a season where nothing seems to be happening, yet beneath the surface, roots are forming. So in the same way, the delay you resent may be building your foundation so that when the blessing comes, you will be strong enough to hold it. Rejection is another disguise. You may not have been accepted into that role, that relationship, or that opportunity you thought was perfect. But think back. How many times has life's no led you to something better? The rejection that once broke your heart often reveals itself later as the moment you were redirected toward what was truly yours. Rejection protects you from what was never meant to belong to you, no matter how much you wanted it. It is not a curse but a shield, steering you away from lesser things, so you can receive the greater blessing prepared for you. And then there are the detours, the unexpected turns that pull you off the path you thought was straight. Detours can be frustrating because they interrupt your sense of progress. Yet what if the straight path you wanted to walk would have missed the blessing entirely? The detour often brings encounters you would not have had otherwise. It introduces you to people, opportunities, and experiences that are essential to your journey. You may not realize it in the moment, but every step of your expected road is leading you exactly where you need to go. The truth is that life is wiser than your immediate understanding. Every closed door, every delay, every detour is part of a larger design. If you could see the full picture, you would understand that nothing was wasted. The moments you thought were setbacks were really stepping stones. The places where you felt abandoned were the very points where life was working silently in your favor. So do not despair when you face delay, rejection, or detour. They are not evidence that your blessing is far away. They are the hidden pathways that bring it closer. Trust that the blessing is already waiting for you, and the very things you once called obstacles are the hands guiding you straight toward it. God works in disguises. Blessings often come dressed as problems, strangers, or unexpected turns. When we think of blessings, we imagine them arriving in clear, shining packages, obvious, beautiful, and immediately recognizable. Yet more often than not, the blessings that truly transform us come in forms we would never expect. They wear disguises that at first make us doubt, resist, or even complain, but behind the disguise lies the very gift we prayed for, waiting to be unveiled through patience and faith. Consider how many blessings have first shown up as problems. A challenge at work, a financial struggle, a health scare, or even a season of loneliness can feel like obstacles meant to harm you. But problems have a hidden purpose. They push you to grow, to develop strength you did not know you carried, to awaken creativity you might never have discovered otherwise. The problem forces you into action, stretching you beyond the limits of your comfort. And when you look back, you realize that the problem was not punishment. It was preparation. It shaped you into the person who could receive and hold a blessing you asked for. Without the problem, you may never have unlocked the wisdom or resilience that became your true wealth. Blessings also come through strangers. Life often sends help through unexpected people, individuals you never imagined would play a role in your journey. A stranger's word at the right time, an act of kindness, or even a difficult encounter can alter the direction of your life. Sometimes the person you least expect carries the key to your next season. Strangers remind you that blessings are not limited to your circle of familiarity. They can come from beyond what you know. This is why you must remain open. For the stranger who enters your life may be an answer to a prayer you whispered long ago. And then there are the unexpected turns, the moments when life shifts suddenly, taking you off the map you designed for yourself. These turns may feel like disruptions, but they are often the exact path to your destiny. An unexpected move, a sudden ending, or an unplanned beginning can lead you to places you never would have chosen, yet they hold treasures you could never have found on your own. The unexpected turn is not meant to confuse you, but to realign you, guiding you closer to the blessing that was waiting outside of your plans. The disguises are not there to harm you, but to protect the gift until you are ready to see it. If every blessing arrived in clear form, you might take it for granted, or worse, overlook it entirely. Disguises require faith, trust, and vision beyond appearances. They invite you to look deeper, to see with your inner eyes rather than your outer ones. So do not be discouraged when blessings appear as problems, strangers, or unexpected turns. These are simply the costumes they wear. When the disguise falls away, you will see that every challenge, every encounter, and every redirection was not working against you, but working for you, carrying within it the very blessing you were seeking. You must not judge the outer appearance. Behind what seems empty lies the fullness prepared for you. Life has a way of hiding abundance beneath the surface of what looks barren. To the natural eye, some situations seem hopeless, some people appear ordinary, and some opportunities look too small to matter. Yet this is only appearance. If you judge by what you see on the surface, you will miss the treasure that lies beneath. What looks like emptiness often holds more than you could imagine, but it requires the eyes of faith to perceive it. Think of a seed planted in the ground. To the casual observer, it looks like nothing is happening. The soil appears empty, silent, lifeless. But beneath the surface, something powerful is taking place. Roots are forming, life is stirring, and in time the seed will break through, revealing the abundance that was hidden all along. If you judged only by the outer appearance of the soil, you would call it empty, and yet in truth it was full of potential, full of life, full of the answer to the harvest. So it is with your life. You may look at your current circumstances and see lack. You may feel as though doors are closed, opportunities scarce, and progress invisible. But do not be deceived by appearances. What looks empty is not empty at all. It is preparation. Behind the outer form lies a fullness already prepared for you, waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. The unseen is more real than what is seen, and the blessings of life often dwell in silence before they burst forth into visibility. Even people are more than they appear. The person you overlook, the one you dismiss as unimportant, may carry wisdom, kindness, or connection that can transform your life. Outer appearance can deceive because it hides the depth within. If you judge too quickly, you risk walking past the very person who carries your blessing. The fullness of someone's soul cannot always be seen in their face, their status, or their outward presentation. It is revealed only to those who look deeper. Opportunities also wear disguises. What looks like a small chance may be the doorway to your greatest breakthrough. A position that seems beneath you, a task that looks insignificant, or an encounter that feels ordinary may be carrying within it the fullness of what you have been waiting for. If you judge it by its surface, you may turn it away. But if you trust that fullness hides behind emptiness, you will step forward in faith and find your blessing. The key is not to judge too soon. Appearances are temporary and often misleading. What looks empty today may overflow tomorrow. What looks insignificant may carry greatness. What looks barren may be blooming beneath the surface. Faith teaches you to trust the unseen, to believe that fullness is already prepared, and to hold fast until it reveals itself. So when you stand before emptiness, do not despair. Look again with the eyes of faith. What seems empty is not a void, but a vessel, and within it lies the abundance that has been waiting for you all along. To receive, you must trust the unseen and be willing to step into the strange, for there the blessing is already prepared. The greatest treasures of life rarely sit in plain sight, waiting in comfort zones where everything feels safe and familiar. Instead, they lie hidden in the places that appear uncertain, in the steps you hesitate to take, and in the spaces that challenge your sense of control. The unseen is the realm where blessings are born, and faith is the bridge that allows you to walk into it. Trusting the unseen means believing that there is more than what your eyes can perceive. It means accepting that your current reality is not the final truth, but only a shadow of what is being prepared for you. The unseen holds your answered prayers, your opportunities, your divine connections, but they will not reveal themselves until you move in trust. Faith is not waiting until everything is visible. It is stepping forward even when nothing seems certain, knowing that what you seek already exists in a realm beyond sight. Yet, to access this unseen blessing, you must be willing to step into the strange. The strange is that place where logic fails, where comfort fades, where certainty dissolves. It may look like a new path you never considered, a relationship that challenges your old patterns, or a season of solitude that feels uncomfortable. The strange unsettles you because it does not match your expectations, but it is in the strange that the blessing is waiting. It is there, already prepared, hidden behind the veil of what seems unfamiliar. Many people resist the strange, preferring the comfort of the known, but comfort rarely produces miracles. Comfort repeats what has already been, while stepping into the strange opens the door to what could be. Every great shift in life begins with a step into unfamiliar territory. Abraham had to leave his homeland to discover the land of promise. The seed must fall into the dark soil before it can become a tree. The caterpillar must enter the cocoon, a strange and confining place, before it transforms into a butterfly. Likewise, your blessing waits in the unfamiliar, asking only that you trust enough to step in. The strange place is not to be feared, for it is not chaos, it is preparation. What looks uncertain is often the most secure path, because it was designed not by your limited vision, but by the infinite wisdom that knows the end from the beginning. When you dare to move into the strange, you discover that everything you feared was only an illusion. The blessing was there, waiting for you to arrive, already complete, already yours. So release your fear of the unseen. Stop waiting for perfect clarity before you move. Trust that what you cannot yet see is real, and know that the strange place is not a trap, but a doorway. The blessing is not being created when you step forward, it is being revealed. It was prepared long before you arrived, and it is waiting in the strange, for the moment you choose to believe. The blessings of life rarely come in the way we imagine. They are hidden in strange places, wrapped in unfamiliar coverings, and disguised as problems, delays, detours, or even rejections. What looks empty is often full. What feels uncomfortable is often the path. What seems ordinary can hold the extraordinary. The key is to stop judging by appearances and start seeing with the eyes of faith. Faith transforms the strange into the sacred, the rejection into redirection, and the delay into preparation. When you dare to trust the unseen, you discover that nothing was ever against you. Every closed door, every unexpected turn, every moment of uncertainty was guiding you closer to the blessing that was already prepared for you. The strange place was never meant to harm you. It was the very ground upon which your miracle was planted. So walk with confidence into the unknown. Do not fear the strange, for it holds the treasure you have been praying for. Do not resist the disguise, for beneath it lies the gift designed with your name on it. Remember, blessings will surprise you, but only if you are willing to see beyond the surface and trust the higher order at work. Thank you for allowing these words to enter your heart. May you walk forward in faith, ready to receive the blessings waiting for you, even in the strangest of places.